Shout out to Pants also. He does unboxing videos for us here at the Goblin Traders. He's done a lot of work with us to get us prepared for the stream. So a big thank you to Pants06. Please throw him a like on Facebook or follow on Twitch or subscribe to him on YouTube.
And right off the bat, James gains a life, so he's ahead in the match. Plays land and passes. See what Steve will go with turn 2 here. Maybe a carrot if he has it in hand. He is definitely going to fetch here. We'll see what he goes and gets. I guess it is going to be a white source here, going with the plains.
He's looking intently at his deck, trying to find it. You never know. Sometimes those lands just disappear on you.
Unlike in Modern, usually when you fetch, you find a basic. When we stream Modern events, you'll see that doesn't always happen. You'll see a lot of searches fail when they do a fetch, or off a Path to Exile, getting a basic land.
Yeah, failed to find. What do we have on the board now? Is that it looks like it could be a Den Protector that was cast.
Is that the tutelage that got into play right off the bat?
Meadows has got a tutelage on board. So
I could have been right last round with the Den Protector call. We wasn't sure if he had it. But with Steve and his deck tech, you don't know what you will see with him. His creative mind and magic is very fun to watch a lot of the times.
Yeah, well, we say that, but I think he did pull this one straight off the internet. So
We'll be streaming on. I am not playing, but I built a Rally the Elves deck that is being played tonight. Hopefully it does good. I would like to do with it tomorrow night with the game day event.
yeah, and everyone, don't forget this month, participating in FNMs, you get a chance to win Serum Visions. Great card for Modern. Also great art on this Serum Visions. And then tomorrow is game day, so be sure to head to your local store. What do we have? Monastery Siege hits the board. And we will find out if that is cons or dragons.
Definitely important to know for the triggers here. And he just placed wrote it down and wrote cons for us, so thank you, James, for the help there on the stream. We appreciate that. And he gains 2 life off of the land coming into play. Goes back to 21. And Steve brings in a Bogus Marauder and swings. Bringing James down to 14. Triggers. Looks like Steve hit lands, land, and maybe a Satyr Wayfinder. Couldn't tell for sure before he covered it up. That's what the art looked like real quick there. Steve definitely has a good board presence. Not that familiar with James's deck, so I'm not sure what he has here that he could pull him out of this at this point, but I'm sure we're going to see a valiant attempt.
There's a roast by James. Try to take out the hair spell, or I believe it was hair spell, to limit Steve's draw. Now we see a tormenting voice. So once again, more fuel for the graveyard for Steve.
That's probably the, draws that Meadows needs to try to get there as well. Steve is down to 17 live here. He did cast Collected Company. We'll see what or if he pulls out of here. His deck runs a lot of creatures. I don't see him messing with this deck. May not always be the best. He did take a pain off of the Mana Confluence to take him down to 16 as well. Looks like he got a Visionary and an Executioner. Is that correct?
Executioner. Is it? Yeah.
Yes. So obviously the Visionary goes after he rolls the card. That's the best option to get rid of.
I'm surprised we haven't seen a Husk come into play yet for Steve. He's been through a lot. I don't know if I've really seen any hit the graveyard yet either.
That would be, they didn't mark down the damage. That would be off of the Marauder. There's going to be 5? 3, 1, and a 2, 2? Is that right?
Not quite sure. I think the Den Protector is a 2/1, and East Marauder is a 2/2, so it should have been 4 damage.
Okay, put him at 10. I'm going to update it here because there was no blocks or anything on that. They are writing it down, so they have the accurate total. The dice is just to help us out. So both players will be writing down their life totals as they go.
So now we see a Anger of the Gods, which once again, very helpful for Meadows, taking out the current board presence without putting it into the graveyard.
And definitely a different situation against with when Danny played him in round 1 because the Nantuko Husk was not there to sacrifice to keep alive. So it was definitely very effective for the time that he did it.
Yeah.
Because it shuts down Rally from those cards, and the Husk does not get to stay out. Because he can sacrifice in response, put those in the graveyard if the Husk is out there. That was Visionary with the draw. Drawing cards is not what James wants to see Steve doing because he goes into a rally at this point. It's going to be not a lot in the graveyard as far as immediate damage, but he's got enough in there with the Satyr Wayfinder, the Executioner that went the turn before, to at any point, if James has any threats out, to go ahead and get rid of that.
Yeah, well, good news for James is that Steve can't get here yet. But the bad news is he's running low on mana over there, which is very important for any deck like this. You need to be able to cast as many draw spells as possible. So we will see a Morph creature this turn.
So we know he has 2. We know the Den Protector and
the Harrisbow, or Harrispex, whichever you're comfortable with saying. Now we get the draw and the trigger from Monastery Siege.
And I mean, he's just loading with creatures, and unfortunately they're just off of you, what's going in, but I'm sure soon enough we'll see them coming back into play.
Yeah.
Definitely some land that most needed there by James. I don't know if he can go ahead and waste maybe a spot removal on the Morph or just lets it go if Steve can't flip it right now.
I think he needs to get to the point where he is consistently getting rid of cards. And we see a Treasure Cruise come into play. So James will get to draw 3 off of this, which will trigger the tutelage 3 times. And unfortunately for James, Steve's deck is a lot of different colors. So you're not going to get the consistent mill that you would against other decks.
That looked like back-to-back really the Ancestors. He just pulled off the top there, though.
Wow.
And I don't think he has one in his hand. I haven't really seen. But I mean, I think I just saw two go right there.
I think he has one in hand and a husk in hand. This is the new red draw spell out of Origins. I do not remember the name, but I believe you have to discard a land with it to get your draws off of it.
And we see a follow-up with Anger.
Yeah.
So, I mean, James is effectively going through a lot of Steve's deck because Steve didn't have the gas early to pull through it. Doesn't mean he won't get there, but it's still anyone's game at this point. James is actually more resilient than I expected going into this round. But he's had everything he's needed at the right time. Now, whether it can stay that way, we'll wait and see. Steve contemplating his play here, and he's at this point has to be very careful. A lot of cards gone out of his deck.
Yeah, it looks like he's really running low.
Liliana coming into play. Wait to see what he can do with that. Definitely has to have some way to Executioner be perfect for this to flip, which he may have one in hand. Yes, he does. That's definitely an Executioner. So, and we're seeing the trigger now. So. Now, what he will bring back with Liliana is the question. He has a lot of options here. Obviously, he gets the zombie token. I'm definitely pretty sure he's going to neg Liliana. Definitely could be wrong. He may want to wait and do that next turn. And they want to plus now to maybe out of range of any direct damage that James could do.
Yeah, he may want to discard so that he can discard, say, a Nantuko Husk from his hand if he has a Mogis Marauder in his graveyard, or if he has a Mogis Marauder in hand. Oh, so now we see that he does have the Marauder in graveyard. So he very well could discard the Nantuko from his hand to his graveyard to set up rally next turn to swing for win.
Well, how many rallies are in the graveyard? And he does still have to get there.
Yeah, I believe I saw one in hand.
I think he only has one card left in hand now. For Steve, which
the power plant, the mine, and the tower. I've got all three of those, and I've got the. I may have that spelled wrong. Netheril disc.
let's see what he does here, and he just passes.
Exactly, that's called, but it's the disc with the.
So didn't feel comfortable doing anything with Liliana, which it's not a bad decision. You know, keep her where she's at, and you don't really hurt your graveyard or your hand in that spot.
I think Meadows feels very comfortable right now with his hand state.
Well, it's Dark Steelers all together, and this thing auto-correct.
Another turn-winning voice. Steve has to be getting low on cards. Looks like he's down to 2. So
There's a scoop.
Yeah, he cast for the 2 cards. So we are going to game 2. I'm sure Steve will be playing first. I don't know what Steve could really sideboard against this matchup.
So Steve's sideboard could be cards like Reclamation Sage or Erase, either one.
So those are all really important.
He may have Dramoka's Command in sideboard.
I know he does. He put it in against Danny last game.
Yeah,
He said so. That's definitely a great card to put in.
So he could absolutely play that to try to cut back on either the draw or the mill. As far as Meadows, he may have some counters in sideboard. to try to deal with the rally. You know, just simple counters.
The chromatic lantern and the
Possibly
if you got them, I'll take 4 of each.
disdainful stroke.
Okay, that's fine.
You know, with rallying for a cost of 3, that could be disdainful stroke because the spell's overall cost would be 5.
Well, that is the Spirit Dragon. It's going to be mine in 2 weeks. If it's still here, it's old.
While we are waiting, I'd like everyone to remember that August 28th, Zendikar versus the Eldrazi dual decks will be out. So, if you're in chat, which side of that do you think you would like to play more? Would you rather play the Zendikar or the Eldrazi? Also, you know, would you be interested in seeing that on stream? A couple people play those decks against each other. Let us know, and we'll try to make that happen. So we did see the Drumoka's command from Wymer. That card is for sure in, as expected.
I'm going to go ahead and add a match results. You guys can see if you join in the stream or what's going on. So we do have James Meadows up 1-0 going to game 2. Definitely pretty sure Steve will be on the play on this. Sideboard tech for James's deck, I'm not really sure. Did you look at the sideboard when you were talking to him?
I didn't get a chance to peek at much of the sideboard.
I know it sucks.
You know, there wasn't so much that he really, or there wasn't a lot of time. Something I wouldn't be surprised to see would be Clash of Wills. I think Clash of Wills could be a card that could be effective against Rally if James has the mana for it.
I mean, does he just play Negate? This is, or Salamangreat Scorn to get in there is low cost?
I don't think Salamangreat Scorn would be one, because I didn't really see him play in any dragons.
Okay.
But Negate is also something that he could have in sideboard. Also, you know, you never know with blue decks. You could bring in something like Harbinger of the Tides. You may flash it in there to bounce one of the tapped Nantokos back.
And I mean, you know, if he is playing, you know, cards like Mowing Wave, stuff we don't normally see, a Swan Song or two may not be out of the realm as a one-drop counter.
Oh, absolutely. A great card that has great purpose against a lot of these combo decks like this. So that could be something that he has in sideboard.
I actually started to see that in a lot of modern decks in sideboard. This is that one-drop counter.
Something. Oops.
Exciting set match.
Oh, Goblin King forgot his tea, so he's on his way back to the table now. Something else, you know, that we could see. I do know he had at least one in his deck. Is Send to Sleep, which is one of the cards out of Origins with the new keyword, Spell Mastery. So that could be something that we see. It seems like it would be very useful, very effective if Steve does have multiple Husk on the board. So,
I mean, what do you think is the best card with Spell Mastery? Would it be Exquisite Firecraft? I mean, is it the best one? I mean, it's played in the red deck that just, you know, won the Pro Tour. I mean...
Well, I think I like it. I think a card that isn't played as much right now, but we will see played more, is Fiery Impulse. I think once Lightning Strike rotates out, Fiery Impulse is going to be the red damage spell to try to take care of creatures. and you know it only gets better when you have multiple spells in the graveyard. Instead of dealing 2, you would go to deal 3 for those unfamiliar with it.
Yeah, but I mean, the exclusive Firecraft is, you can't prevent it. I mean, it's guaranteed damage. It does cost 3, but I mean, doing 4 for 3, I mean, it's almost a Stoke the Flames without Convoke,
Yeah,
and you can't
absolutely.
prevent it.
And I mean, it's similar to Rending Volley, except it's layer also, and it's not just limited to white and blue.
And we do have game 2 going here now. Both players played a land and passed turn 1. Steve is going to fetch, obviously, definitely going to get a Plains with his green-black source on the board already. We'll be dropping down to 19. The decks you may see the next few weeks could be interesting because half the cards in Origins haven't found a home, and some of them we don't know whether they will. Abbot of the Carol Keep is a definite big card in the red decks.
Oh, absolutely. That card has been wonderful in the newer red decks that are being played right now.
Steve played a Visionary. Drawing card is always good for him. So James plays a land and pass. We'll swing for 1.
Yeah, I think right now the format, as far as standard goes, is people are still trying to figure out what works well with what. And so right now we're still in the early stages. You know, big decks right now are mono red and Thopter builds, but later on down the road, you never know what we can see.
Depending on how the tribal goes into the next set with Zendikar, I mean, you're looking at goblins getting better. I think elves will be better. I think they're playable now. They're a tier 2 deck. I don't think they'll be tier 1 without some more fuel. Rally the Ancestors with Shaman of the Pack is just a great, but it's trickery. It isn't consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for elves to be consistent, they need some sort of overrun effect. Something like, you know, old decks, or well, even modern decks now, play Azuri, are consistently using, or old Garrets. So, but if they can get that consistent overrun, they could be highly competitive.
It looks like a Dramoka's Command, 2 lands, and is that a Mogus Marauder off of the Wayfinder?
I am not quite sure. I did not get to see what it was.
He had it covered. Obviously, he took one of the lands.
That's very unfortunate for Steve also, because he would love to have that Dramoka's Command.
Yeah, his tutelage is active. Though we said Meadows did get game 1 by milling Steve out. Did not see Rally the Ancestors at all. I'm pretty sure they were all milled away, obviously, but milled early. It's one of those situations where you wish Elixir Mortality was still available in the format and just shuffle back in and keep on going.
Yeah, I think Elixir would be great, or you know, even something like Feldon's King would be wonderful to have right now. And soon enough, we will have Eldrazi, which will help you be able to shuffle your graveyard back into your library, hopefully, if they keep some of the same mechanics they had.
So, with them talking about tribal, we got what, 1 or 2 Merfolk cards with Origins. Do you think it's something to lead into, or are they just give us a bit of a tease with that?
I think it's just like any core set. They're going to give you the standard classes, or you know, creature types that you're used to seeing. You always see some sort of wizards and merfolk and goblins.
James gains 2 life off the lane coming into play there.
And I feel like it was just something they printed because they thought it would be good in other formats as well as something useful in standard. Harbinger is seeing some fit in modern Merfolk. The Menace Goblin's doing great things right now, I think, in standard. And who knows, he may have a fit in modern eventually.
speaking of just, tribal cards, with Shaman of the Pack going into modern elves, do you think we'll ever see it into Legacy? Some decks have tossed it around a little bit. I haven't seen any of the pros playing it in the elves, but do you think it will have a fit at any point in time?
I don't think it has a fit because of cards like Containment Priest. I feel like they just hold too much against it for the type of play that it's seeing right now.
Steve pays a lot here to
Grim Hairspell.
Grim Hairspell, yes, and swings in for 2. So we'll have Steve going down to 16. James is now at 20. So looking at the live totals correct here, I think they're updating them correctly.
So now we see an anger. And out of disbelief, Wymer wants to check the text of the card. And will respond.
It was a foil, but maybe Steve just wanted to look at the foil on the card.
That's possible also.
He needs a perfect thing that goes through.
It was a great timing to have that command by Steve to keep his creatures out there in play. Good game. I'm pretty sure that Steve has him at 16 to 18 on his paper here, so they did not mark the live totals here. I'll go ahead and update him on our game here. Good thing is I can see what Steve's writing down, so that's a big help right now. This is the first time streaming, so players aren't used to keeping life on dice, because obviously you keep it on paper all the time. See if I can order some D20s oversized, maybe get them in to sort of help with the life. A little bit easier with some spin downs for them. We got the update there. And Steve directly showing us that he's got it right on paper, which I was able to see, so.
As any great Goblin King would do.
Me and Steve play Magic together for quite a while. That's probably a little jab at me there for nitpicking at him a little bit for the live totals, but I'll hear about that later, I'm sure. So again, we are in round 2 of Standard. We have 8 players tonight, 13 playing in Modern. Have about 19 minutes left in Standard, so more likely next round, unless it's an amazing matchup, I will play somebody other than Steve. We've had him back-to-back rounds. If he pulls this out and wins, more than likely we'll see him in the top anyway later on stream. So definitely going to be a lot of Magic with Steve. He'll be on stream a lot. He plays every format and it's competitive. Obviously, it's the Goblin King, so he knows how to play Magic. He's been playing for a very long time. As has a lot of the players here. Played in shops I never heard of, still talking to them in Russell and a lot of different places over the years. And he hit a Sylvan Carroted and Liliana off of the collecting company.
Once again, great cards to. There's not really a card that feels like a miss when you're playing Collected Company in any format. At least there shouldn't be.
Steve swings in there for 5. And the live totals at 16 and 13. Also, if you plan on coming in next weekend, Rally on the River is in Ironton. It'll be 2 blocks from where we are at. So parking will be a little bit hectic. So come down early. We open at noon on Saturday. Plan to spend the day. Open at noon on Friday as well. Open until the tournament ends. Through the week, hours are normally 2 to 11. A little bit later than that, depending on how the tournament goes. Then the hours are 12 to 9 on Sundays.
And once again, if you enjoy, riding a motorcycle, or if you enjoy music, or if you just like to travel, feel free to come by Ironton, Ohio for Rally on the River. And don't forget to pay us a visit.
And while we was talking there, James did gain life back off of the lock game land there. A lot of ways to gain life. They did print a enchantment to stop that, but I don't think it has found a home. You probably see it stray decks against modern for like Collective Company, but it's...
Yeah, it's just one of those obscure cards that right now doesn't really fit anywhere.
I played in Tribal Zoo, but I have to have a way to deal with, the combo decks there. It's a one-of in sideboard, so...
Yeah, and I mean, something else, though, that we have to consider is Atarka's command, also stopping life gain. And so that's at instant speed and can be responded to somebody trying to do something like that. But I think eventually, if life gain becomes a large enough mechanic, we could see Tainted Remedy in some sideboards. You get another Sphinx's tutelage from James.
Yes. And James did take 2 damage there. Not updated as we can see on Steve's here when he swung with the Marauder last turn. If you guys have cards that you're interested in buying, selling, or trading, just come on in. We'll definitely take a look at what you have. Right now we have Standard, Modern, Tiny Leaders, and Pauper. Trying to get enough players playing Legacy. So we will making decks to start playing. So if that's a format you're interested in, definitely we can order cards for you. To get into that format, love to start hosting some tournaments and get that streaming. Have some tabletop games as well with X-Wing. And Dice Master seems to be a big thing going on right now. It's cheap to get into the game, 99 cents a pack plus tax, if I'm not mistaken, maybe $1 even. You can, when the sets come out, you can buy starter sets that come with all the basic cards and dice. New set coming out here soon, I do believe. I'll get some information on that here for you. But tournaments are firing quite often now. They are on Monday nights at 6 o'clock.
So right now, the newest set in Dice Masters is Age of Ultron. Getting ready to release, I think it's War of Light, the new DC one. And so there are going to be a lot of great dice and cards. If you're familiar with the Darkest Night saga that DC had. So you're going to get your yellow, or your Sinestro Corp Batman.
Steve swings for 3 right there.
Or sorry, White Lantern Batman.
We also have quite a good selection of board games, not your standard like Monopoly stuff like that, but a lot of different games available in stock as well.
Yeah, some of our larger games that we move really well right now, that people have generally been interested in. Legendary has been great. It's a really fun game to play. We recently recorded a game of Legendary that we will possibly upload a small video of onto YouTube, where the loser had to eat hot sauce. So if you are familiar with the Trinidad scorpion pepper, I'm sorry. But now our good friend Anthony is also familiar with the Trinidad Scorpion Pepper. So we had a lot of fun playing, a lot of fun watching Anthony cry. It was a blast.
Game's been played that I actually introduced here about a year ago at the shop was Avalon. Everybody played it right off the bat. Usually hard to get in the shop. They sell it quick as it comes in. That and Settlers of Catan, or Catan, I'm not sure how you say it.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing game.
It's the greatest selling board game of all time. It's very highly played still. The game's been out forever and people still love it.
Steve did attack, bringing James down to 6 at this point. So it's looking like Steve is somewhat in control of this one. So more likely you'll see a game 3 here. He's just not pulling off the milling like he was in game 1, because James just took everything out of Steve's deck very quickly.
That Dramoka's command early on was a big game changer for Steve, being able to force Meadows to sack his Sphinx's tutelage early on. It also was bad that Meadows did not have another enchantment on board. If he could have had another enchantment, he could have chosen to sacrifice it instead of the tutelage. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way for him.
Right now, James just needs to see Anger of the Gods, I think, would be a way for him to stabilize another turn or two. Steve is, obviously going to be swinging in for 4 damage at least next turn.
It depends if Steve has the rally in hand. If he has the rally in hand, I don't know how much good.
It looks like he does. He's looking through the cards there. It looks like Rally is in hand. Well, this is the scenario we were talking about before the match started. That James looked at the graveyard. He cast Rally, then he's just going to go crazy. And there's the
gate that was talked about early on. Stopping.
And now he comes with the Rally after drawing the negate out of the hand. That was a great play by Steve, anticipating it.
Absolutely. But once again, James didn't really have much of a choice.
We will see if James thinks he has it. I mean, I don't know if he has the haste in the graveyard yet. Not seeing a lot of what's going in. Just the angle that we have the camera at. Makes it a little rough to see what goes directly into the graveyard. But I haven't seen the haste aspect in the graveyard. I think that's what James is contemplating right now, is can he get past it?
And this looks like it's going to be massive. And James searching, pins coming to the face. That's never a great sign.
I mean, with 9.5 minutes, it would almost be in James's best interest just to go ahead and go to game 3. I mean, he's got a large hole here to dig it out of.
I think James is better off to play this one out because there are 9 minutes left.
Bill, I'm trying to hold out against this. Onslaught, I would guess, is happening here.
Absolutely, but I just don't like James's matchup against Steve's deck. I feel if James can hold on, that puts him in a better position.
There's going to be a lot of triggers. This turn could take a few minutes. I think there's 2 Seder Wayfinders in play, or in the graveyard coming into play. Steve is, I believe, stacking the way he wants them to go down right now for all those triggers. Two Visionaries and 2 Seder Wayfinders.
And so now, Steve mills himself just a little bit.
I think he's okay with that. I mean,
first triggering the Wayfinders, and then he will trigger.
I mean, if he gets the Mogus Marauder and Graveyard off of this, can't he use the Liliana to bring it in and give the haste?
Yes, absolutely. If he sacks the Mogis Marauder to his own Nantucket house, but I think he has a Marauder already on board from the rally itself.
That's why I couldn't tell as he stacked them down for.
Yeah, so what we could see is a desperate activation of tutelage by Meadows to Hope.
He's down to 6. I guess if he could find a way to do it before the Visionary triggers.
Yeah, that.
I don't know if he's actually got the trigger off the Visionaries yet, or if we've just resolved the Seder Wayfinders.
I think he's already drawn from the Visionaries.
And we do have the activations. So,
And now there's the scoop by Meadows. So we are at 1-1 with roughly 6:45 left. We will see if they make any changes to board. And then once we get into shuffling, I'm not sure if there will be much time for anything.
I've been thankful for that many times. The thought never crossed my mind until Bubba told me about it. That's what I hear. No, that's okay. All right, thank you very much.
No, not yet. Not yet.
we have right at 6 minutes left in the round here for Standard, so there's a very good chance this is going to end up in a 1-1 draw. I mean, Steve can have the hand that could blow up on it, but it's still going to have to be a very fast-paced game.
Yeah, I think Steve has to get to at least 5 lands to be able to blow up, I would think. So I feel like it's going to come down to a draw, but you played out for a reason. So
I mean, if Steve gets the Rant and Company early, Seder Wayfinder right off the bat, throws himself in his graveyard, it could be, you get there quick. Just over 5 minutes left in the round right now, so definitely wait to see what happens here. Okay, went ahead and put you guys on mute there. We made the 5-minute announcement. Didn't want to scream across the stream, so everybody know to play aggressively and hurry as much as possible.
So we got a shout out in chat to Bryce Martinez. I'm not sure who that is, but Bryce Martin, store owner, is over there doing the nay-nay. For those not familiar with that dance, I'm not either.
So it's going to be close to 3.5 minutes before they get going with Game 3. It's going to be turns before they know it. And that is Oni there as I think over there, Mr. Oni. My concern is, why are you not here playing in these beautiful Magic tournaments tonight unless you're stuck at work? And then I'm sorry, that's not good for you.
Or it's great for you because you're surrounded by hot pockets, which doesn't seem like it could be a bad time.
Anyone else in the stream? Obviously, we can't see your real name. Say who you are. We'll give you a shout out for following. Plus, we can figure out who you are. Maybe talk a little about decks you play, a little about background, so we can get you on stream later on. So don't be shy. You guys have been way too quiet in here. Ask us questions. We'll definitely find all the information we can for you. Any questions for the shop? Bryce is here as well. We can ask him anything you need to know.
Deadwalker 42 with a very valid point. Hot Pockets the bomb.
Unfortunately, we're settling for, I believe, Papa John's here in a few moments. So we're going the route of that instead of Hot Pockets.
Oni, you can fix that, friend. You can hook us up.
The deep freezer is ready to be filled with unlimited Hot Pockets.
Oh, don't text and drive, Oni. That's a bad thing to do.
Somebody from Oklahoma, the old prairie dog.
So, are you a Boomer Sooner or are you a Cowboys fan? Prairie Dog?
We are into the match. We have a turn 2 Seder Wayfinder. So Steve is going to get some good stuff in his graveyard. Roundabout way. Not a lot of direct to really help with some draw card ability and a Kieran and the Dramoka's command, which you probably like to have to stop the tutelage early on.
Well,
Don't know if it's going to matter with the time.
yeah, we're at a minute 45 now. I don't see tutelage being very effective. I think right now Steve is on the beatdown plan
With
for the
Seder
most part.
Wayfinder. They are both at 19. Let me get the life counter updated here for you. They're playing definitely a lot quicker pace, so I will do everything I can to keep up with the life totals. Definitely let you know audibly, and you can see where they are on here. As well, Steve goes down to 17.
We have a monastery activation by Meadows here.
It looks like it is cons.
Cons again.
Yes.
So
He goes up to 21 with the life coming into play here.
it's a wonderful handmade cons token by James Meadows, the man of the playmat.
Before next weekend, we'll have Bryce make us some cons and dragons for those cards that we'll have readily available. Didn't know we would be playing with them. Don't see them a lot, but now that we know that there is a deck with them, we'll definitely make sure that we're visible next week.
Also, for anybody interested in a beautiful James Meadows playmat, please message the shop on Facebook. Facebook.com/the Goblin Traders.
I will say, he was not exceptionally happy about, Tormod's Crypt. Sorry, I didn't have to cut off right in the middle there.
Absolutely.
But that just shuts down.
Great sideboard card.
We didn't see it either game, so, I just had to stop what I was saying. Totally off my train of thought there because was not expecting that.
It's a card that I've been pitching to people for a while when talking about Rally the Ancestors and possible sideboard cards against it. Surprised that anyone has played it still because these type of decks are really about the only thing you see that against. Jumanji, somebody wants a playmat of you. That's you, Jumanji.
Can you let them know it is time out there, please? We have hit time for the round. I'm going to place you guys on mute for just 1 second so we can announce that. Hey, back with you. Thank you guys for being patient here.
Brian 121.
We did see a negate on a rally, I believe.
Not sure if that was a rally or not. I did not see what it was.
We have an Elvish Visionary in play.
So I'm not sure. Is this turn 0?
I'm sure they'll put the dice on the table. Is that a
Looks like an
Fenza?
Anafenza. That's a...
We've not seen that yet.
No, that's a
Steve,
great card.
either-
Wow, Steve is going to pass without attacking with a Wayfinder also. That's quite surprising to me.
Oh, there we go. It is. We are on turn 1 as he just moved it onto the table. We can't see exactly what's going on here. We have a little background noise. We're sort of in between rounds because it's a little bit loud. Haven't really secured a great quiet place for the stream. That will definitely be happening soon. Just got to be up and running right now. So
Also, if people are looking for something to do between rounds, I would suggest a game called Star Realms. It's a wonderful game that was designed to be played in between rounds of Magic. So if you haven't picked that up, feel welcome to come into the Goblin Traders and tell Bryce, hey, I want to order Star Realms. Great game. Try it out, guys. Get a tormenting voice here.
It's pretty good.
And we also just got a message from James's wife that she is watching him play Magic right now, and she definitely wants one of those playmats. So we'll have to make sure that that does happen for her.
I feel like everyone should have a James Meadows playmat.
I will sit beside and let him know since she just sent that message to us here.
Absolutely. Even Burt Reynolds in his prime would have loved to have had chest hair like that.
Chest hair, bolsters, right?
Store owner Bryce just got taken out by a tackle box.
So she messaged us directly to the shop page, didn't post it in the chat. She should jump in here with us, and we definitely passed the message along. And we may have had a eye roll from James. We're all having a little bit of fun here. First night of streaming, be as interactive as possible.
Oh man, shout out for a second. We were up to 16 viewers. Had somebody leave, but thanks to the 15 who are still here. Once again, we would like to ask everyone, please hit us with a follow on here. Throw a like to the Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
I feel it's R20 to 18 right now. Unless Steve has some awesomeness here. Which James just seems to have all the sweepers right now. Just
Absolutely.
to bounce the hand and clear the board. This is probably going to a draw.
Ooh, we see a collected company come out.
And a negate. So we do see James with no hand. So if Steve, has anything to get him there, this would be the time to do it. Obviously, last turn for him.
So everybody in chat would like to know if you had to see a deck tech video between one of these two decks, which would you rather see? Would you rather see the red-blue tutelage, or would you rather see Rally the Ancestors?
Can't promise either one.
Absolutely not. But
Especially with being a tie, we'll go right to the next round. Is anybody playing Thopters tonight? Two people? Any of them undefeated that we could get on stream next round? Okay. We're trying to get Thopters on next round. Pretty popular deck. Depends on what playing against. And James with the note there to you, Rip. So gotta have a little bit of fun here at the end of the rounds.
that's right. He wants everyone to know that he loves his wife.
Like there was any doubt, though.
Oh no, never any doubt.
And we do have the 1-1 draw. We'll be going away for a few moments. I gotta take a little bit of a break, stretch my legs here for a minute. We'll be back in just a few minutes when we get the pairing set up. We'll update who is playing, find out what decks they're playing, and be right back.